The rain pattered against the cracked windowpane of the tiny apartment in the Bronx, mirroring the tears that streamed down Lily Martinez's face. Her trembling hands clutched a crumpled eviction notice, the harsh reality of her situation sinking in like a cold knife to her heart. At just 24 years old, Lily found herself at the lowest point of her life, a stark contrast to the dreams she once harbored of becoming a renowned fashion designer. How did it come to this? She whispered to herself, her voice barely audible over the distant sirens and the relentless New York City traffic below. Lily's gaze drifted to the battered sewing machine in the corner, a relic from her grandmother and the last tangible connection to her family's legacy of craftsmanship. As she ran her fingers along the worn metal, memories flooded back of her abuela's wrinkled hands guiding her own, teaching her the intricate art of sewing. "Remember, Mija," her grandmother's voice echoed in her mind, "with these hands, you can create beauty from nothing. Never let anyone tell you that your dreams are too big." But life had a cruel way of testing those dreams. Lily's journey from a bright-eyed fashion student to a struggling seamstress had been paved with hardship and heartbreak. The fashion world, she discovered, was as cutthroat as it was glamorous. A knock at the door startled Lily from her reverie. Wiping her tears hastily, she opened it to find Mrs. Jenkins, her elderly neighbor, standing there with a sympathetic smile. "Lily, dear," Mrs. Jenkins said softly, "I couldn't help but overhear. Is everything all right?" Lily's facade crumbled, and she found herself pouring out her troubles to the kind-hearted woman. Mrs. Jenkins listened patiently, her weathered face a map of compassion. "You know," Mrs. Jenkins mused, her eyes twinkling, "I might just have an opportunity for you. My niece works at Elegance magazine. They're looking for seamstresses for their upcoming charity fashion show. It's not much, but it might be a foot in the door." Hope, fragile as gossamer, began to weave its way through Lily's heart. "Really? Oh, Mrs. Jenkins, that would be incredible." The next morning, Lily stood outside the towering glass edifice of Elegance magazine, her portfolio clutched tightly to her chest. The bustle of Manhattan swirled around her, a cacophony of ambition and dreams. Taking a deep breath, she stepped through the revolving doors and into a world that would change her life forever. The elevator ride to the 30th floor felt like an ascent to Judgment Day. When the doors opened, Lily was assaulted by a whirlwind of activity, models rushing past, assistants barking into phones, and the persistent click-clack of stilettos on marble floors. "Can I help you?" A voice dripping with disdain cut through the chaos. Lily turned to face a statuesque blonde, her icy blue eyes scanning Lily's thrift store outfit with undisguised contempt. I am here about the seamstress position," Lily stammered, her confidence wavering under the woman's scrutiny. The blonde, who introduced herself as Veronica Sinclair, head of the fashion department, led Lily to a cluttered workspace. "We need these gowns altered by tomorrow morning," she said, gesturing to a rack of exquisite dresses. "Consider it your audition." Lily's heart raced as she examined the gowns. They were masterpieces of couture, each worth more than she made in a year. With trembling hands, she began her work, losing herself in the familiar rhythm of needle and thread. Hours flew by, and as the first rays of dawn painted the New York skyline, Lily stepped back to admire her handiwork. The alterations were flawless, each dress transformed to perfection. Veronica's arrival was heralded by the sharp tap of her heels. Her eyes widened as she inspected the gowns, disbelief etched across her features. This is actually impressive," she admitted grudgingly. "You're hired. But don't get any ideas, you're here to sew, not design." Despite the backhanded compliment, Lily's spirit soared. She had done it, she had her foot in the door of the fashion world she had dreamed of for so long. Little did Lily know that this moment of triumph was merely the first thread in a tapestry of events that would test her resolve, challenge her dreams, and ultimately lead her to a destiny beyond her wildest imagination. As the days passed, Lily threw herself into her work with a passion that both impressed and unsettled her coworkers. Her natural talent and unwavering dedication did not go unnoticed, particularly by Julian Hawthorne, the enigmatic lead designer for Elegance magazine's upcoming charity show. Julian, with his brooding good looks and reputation for brilliance, was both feared and revered in the fashion industry. His designs were revolutionary, pushing the boundaries of art and wearability. But it was his mercurial temperament that kept everyone on edge. One evening, as Lily was putting the finishing touches on a particularly challenging alteration, she felt a presence behind her. Turning, she found herself face to face with Julian, his intense green eyes studying her work with curiosity. "You have a unique touch," he murmured, fingers tracing the intricate beadwork she had added to complement the dress's design. "Where did you learn this technique?" Lily's heart raced, both from the proximity of this fashion icon and the unexpected praise. "My grandmother taught me," she replied softly. "She always said that every stitch should tell a story." A ghost of a smile played on Julian's lips. "Interesting. Perhaps there's more to you than meets the eye, Miss Martinez." Lily Martinez. "Well, Miss Martinez, I look forward to seeing more of your work." With that, he turned and strode away, leaving Lily breathless and confused by the encounter. The brief interaction with Julian did not go unnoticed. Veronica, who had been watching from across the room, approached Lily with barely concealed hostility. "Don't get any ideas, Seamstress," she hissed. "Julian Hawthorne is off-limits to the likes of you. Remember your place." Lily's cheeks burned with humiliation, but she held her head high. "I'm just here to do my job, Miss Sinclair. Nothing more." But fate, it seemed, had other plans. As the charity show drew nearer, the pressure in the Elegance offices reached a fever pitch. Designs were scrapped and reworked, models came and went in a flurry of fittings, and tempers flared in the race against time. It was during one of these chaotic moments that disaster struck. Lily watched in horror as Veronica, in a fit of frustration, accidentally tore the delicate lace of the show's centerpiece gown, Julian's magnum opus. The room fell silent, all eyes on the ruined dress. Julian's face darkened with fury, his voice low and dangerous as he addressed Veronica. "Fix it. Now." Veronica's hands shook as she examined the tear, panic evident in her eyes. I can't," she whispered. "It's impossible to repair without ruining the entire design." Julian's gaze swept the room, landing on Lily. "You," he pointed. "The seamstress with the magic touch. Can you fix this?" All eyes turned to Lily, a mixture of curiosity and skepticism on their faces. Veronica's expression was one of pure venom. Swallowing hard, Lily approached the damaged gown. Her mind raced as she assessed the tear. It was bad, but not irreparable. Drawing on every lesson her grandmother had taught her, every technique she had perfected in those long nights of practice, Lily formulated a plan. "I can fix it," she said quietly, her voice gaining strength as she spoke. "But I'll need to modify the design slightly to make it work. If you'll allow me, Mr. Hawthorne, I have an idea that might even enhance the overall look." A hush fell over the room. No one had ever dared to suggest modifying one of Julian Hawthorne's designs. The designer himself remained silent for a long moment, his penetrating gaze never leaving Lily's face. Finally, he nodded. "You have 1 hour. Impress me." With hands that were miraculously steady, Lily set to work. The world faded away as she lost herself in the delicate dance of needle and thread. She drew upon every ounce of skill and creativity she possessed, weaving a solution that was part repair, part reinvention. As the minutes ticked by, a small crowd gathered to watch. Whispers of amazement rippled through the onlookers as Lily's vision took shape. Even Veronica, her face a mask of conflicting emotions, couldn't tear her eyes away. Just as the hour drew to a close, Lily stepped back, her heart pounding. The gown, once torn and seemingly beyond repair, now stood transformed. The tear had been seamlessly incorporated into a cascade of delicate lace flowers, each petal shimmering with tiny, hand-sewn crystals. The modification flowed so naturally with the original design that it seemed impossible to imagine the dress any other way. Julian approached slowly, his expression unreadable. He circled the dress, examining every detail with a critical eye. The tension in the room was palpable as everyone held their breath, waiting for his verdict. Finally, Julian turned to Lily, his eyes alight with an emotion she couldn't quite place. "Miss Martinez," he said, his voice carrying clearly through the silent room, "it seems I've underestimated you. This is exceptional." A collective gasp went through the crowd. Julian Hawthorne, notorious for his exacting standards and harsh critiques, had just given the highest praise to a lowly seamstress. Lily's cheeks flushed with pride and disbelief. "Thank you, Mr. Hawthorne," she managed to say, her voice barely above a whisper. "Please, call me Julian," he replied with a small smile. "I think it's time we had a serious discussion about your future at Elegance magazine. Your talent is wasted on mere alterations." As Julian led Lily away to discuss her newfound potential, the room erupted into excited chatter. Veronica stood frozen, her face a storm of emotions, anger, jealousy, and a grudging respect warring for dominance. Little did anyone know that this moment of triumph was just the beginning of Lily's journey. The young seamstress from the Bronx had taken her first steps into a world of glamour, intrigue, and cutthroat ambition. The threads of destiny were weaving a tapestry far grander and more perilous than she could have ever imagined. As night fell over New York City, the lights of the Elegance magazine building twinkled like stars, holding the promise of dreams fulfilled and battles yet to be fought. For Lily Martinez, the real story was just beginning, a tale of passion, perseverance, and the power of believing in oneself against all odds. The fashion world would never be the same again, and neither would Lily. With every stitch, she was sewing her own destiny, one that would lead her through trials and triumphs, heartbreak and hope, all the way to the glittering pinnacle of the fashion world. But for now, as she followed Julian into his office, her heart racing with excitement and trepidation, Lily allowed herself a moment of pure, unadulterated joy. She had taken the first step on the path to her dreams, and nothing, not Veronica's jealousy, not the cutthroat world of high fashion, not even her own self-doubt, could stop her now. The night air hummed with possibility as New York City embraced its newest rising star, unaware of the storms that lay ahead. For in the world of fashion, every triumph comes with a price, and Lily's journey to the top would be paved with as many tears as sequins. But that was a story for another day. Tonight, Lily Martinez, the seamstress from the Bronx, would dream of runways and spotlights, of fabrics that shimmered like stardust and designs that could change the world. And somewhere, in the great tapestry of fate, the threads of her destiny began to shine just a little bit brighter. The morning sun streamed through the windows of Elegance magazine's offices, casting a golden glow on Lily Martinez as she stood before Julian Hawthorne's desk. The events of the previous night still felt like a dream, her miraculous save of the centerpiece gown, Julian's unexpected praise, and now this moment that felt poised on the knife edge of possibility. Julian leaned back in his chair, his piercing green eyes studying Lily with an intensity that made her pulse quicken. "Miss Martinez," he began, a hint of a smile playing at the corners of his mouth, "I believe we've discovered a diamond in the rough." Lily's breath caught in her throat. "Mr. Hawthorne, Julian, I can't tell you how much your words mean to me. I've dreamed of this opportunity for so long." "Dreams are all well and good," Julian replied, his tone sharpening slightly, "but in this industry, it's talent and hard work that truly matter. And you, Lily, have shown both in spades." He paused, letting his words sink in. "I'm offering you a position as my personal assistant designer for the upcoming charity show." The world seemed to tilt on its axis. Lily gripped the edge of the desk to steady herself, her mind reeling with the implications of Julian's offer. I don't know what to say, she stammered. Julian's eyebrow arched. Say yes, of course. Unless you prefer to continue mending hems for the rest of your career? No. I mean, yes. Yes, I accept, Lily blurted out, her face flushing with excitement and embarrassment. A genuine smile broke across Julian's face, transforming his usually stern features. Excellent. We start immediately. The charity show is in 6 weeks, and we have a collection to create. As Lily left Julian's office, her head spinning with ideas and possibilities, she nearly collided with Veronica Sinclair. The blonde's icy gaze swept over Lily, a mixture of contempt and curiosity in her eyes. Well, Veronica drawled, her voice dripping with false sweetness, if it isn't our little seamstress turned Cinderella. Enjoying your fairy tale moment? Lily straightened her spine, meeting Veronica's gaze with newfound confidence. This is no fairy tale, Miss Sinclair. It's the result of hard work and dedication. Veronica's eyes narrowed dangerously. Oh, honey, she purred, leaning in close, you have no idea what you've just stepped into. This world will chew you up and spit you out before you can say haute couture. Enjoy it while it lasts. With a flip of her perfectly coiffed hair, Veronica sauntered away, leaving Lily with a mixture of determination and unease. The path ahead would not be easy, but Lily was ready to face whatever challenges lay in store. The next few weeks passed in a whirlwind of creativity, sleepless nights, and caffeine-fueled brainstorming sessions. Lily threw herself into her new role with unbridled passion, her natural talent blossoming under Julian's exacting mentorship. Together, they crafted a collection that pushed the boundaries of fashion, blending Julian's avant-garde vision with Lily's innate understanding of fabric and form. Each piece told a story, a visual symphony of color, texture, and emotion. As word of the upcoming show spread through the fashion world, anticipation reached a fever pitch. Elegance magazine's charity event had always been a highlight of the season, but rumors of Julian Hawthorne's new protégé added an extra layer of intrigue. One evening, as Lily was putting the finishing touches on a particularly challenging design, she felt a presence behind her. Turning, she found herself face to face with Ethan Blackwood, the magazine's dashing young editor-in-chief. "Miss Martinez," he said, his voice smooth as silk, "I've been hearing remarkable things about you." Lily felt a blush creep up her cheeks. Ethan's reputation as a charming playboy preceded him, but there was no denying the magnetic pull of his deep brown eyes and disarming smile. "Mr. Blackwood," she managed to reply, "I'm just doing my best to contribute to the team." Ethan chuckled, a rich, warm sound that sent a shiver down Lily's spine. "Please, call me Ethan. And from what I've seen, your best is nothing short of extraordinary." He paused, his gaze lingering on her face. "I was wondering if you might join me for dinner tonight. To discuss your contributions to the magazine, of course." Lily hesitated, torn between the flutter of excitement in her chest and the nagging voice of caution in her mind. Before she could respond, Julian's voice cut through the moment like a knife. "I'm afraid Miss Martinez has prior commitments this evening, Ethan," Julian said coolly, appearing seemingly out of nowhere. "We have a collection to finish, after all." The tension between the two men was palpable, an undercurrent of rivalry that Lily couldn't quite understand. Ethan's easy smile never faltered, but a flicker of annoyance passed through his eyes. "Another time, perhaps," Ethan said, directing his words to Lily. With a nod to Julian, he turned and walked away, leaving Lily feeling both relieved and strangely disappointed. Julian's gaze was inscrutable as he turned to Lily. "You do well to be cautious around Ethan Blackwood," he said, his voice low. "He has a habit of complicating things." Lily nodded, unsure of how to interpret Julian's warning. As they returned to their work, she couldn't shake the feeling that she had just glimpsed the tip of an iceberg of complex relationships and hidden agendas that lay beneath the glittering surface of the fashion world. As the weeks flew by, Lily's confidence grew alongside her skills. She found herself not just assisting Julian, but actively contributing ideas and designs that he incorporated into the collection. The long hours and demanding work took their toll, but Lily had never felt more alive. However, not everyone was thrilled with Lily's meteoric rise. Veronica Sinclair, in particular, seemed determined to undermine Lily's efforts at every turn. Snide comments, misplaced sketches, and conveniently timed accidents became a near-daily occurrence. One afternoon, as Lily was preparing to present her latest designs to Julian, she discovered that her entire portfolio had vanished from her workstation. Panic rising in her throat, she searched frantically, aware that Julian was due any minute. "Looking for something?" Veronica's saccharine voice rang out. She stood in the doorway, Lily's portfolio dangling from her manicured fingers. "Oh dear, it seems your little scrapbook found its way into my office. How careless of you to leave it lying around." Lily's eyes narrowed. "This has gone far enough, Veronica. What's your problem with me?" Veronica's facade of sweetness evaporated, replaced by a cold fury. "My problem? You waltz in here, a nobody from the Bronx, and suddenly you're Julian's golden girl? I've worked for years to get where I am, and I won't let some upstart seamstress ruin everything." "I'm not trying to ruin anything," Lily shot back, her own anger rising. "I'm just doing my job, and doing it well. Maybe if you spent less time sabotaging others and more time on your own work, you wouldn't feel so threatened." For a moment, Veronica looked as if she might physically lash out. But then, a slow, cruel smile spread across her face. "Oh, honey," she said, her voice dripping with venom, "you have no idea what you're up against. Enjoy your moment in the sun while it lasts. Because trust me, it won't last long." With that, she tossed the portfolio at Lily's feet and stalked away, leaving Lily shaken but more determined than ever to prove herself. As the date of the charity show drew nearer, the pressure intensified. Final fittings, last-minute alterations, and endless rounds of approvals consumed every waking moment. Lily barely had time to eat or sleep, let alone reflect on the whirlwind her life had become. It was during one of these frantic late-night sessions that Lily made a startling discovery. As she was sorting through a pile of discarded sketches, a crumpled piece of paper caught her eye. Smoothing it out, she gasped at what she saw. It was an early draft of one of Julian's designs, but with a familiar signature in the corner. A signature that wasn't Julian's. Her mind racing, Lily dug deeper into the pile, uncovering more sketches with the same signature. Each one was a precursor to one of Julian's acclaimed designs from previous seasons. The implications were staggering. Julian Hawthorne, the genius designer, had been stealing his ideas from someone else. Lily's hands shook as she gathered the evidence. What should she do with this information? Confront Julian? Go to Ethan? The weight of the secret pressed down on her, threatening to crush her newfound dreams. As if summoned by her tumultuous thoughts, Julian appeared in the doorway. "Lily? What are you still doing here so late?" She turned, trying to hide the sketches behind her back, but Julian's keen eyes missed nothing. His face paled as he took in the scene. "Where did you find those?" he asked, his voice unnaturally calm. Lily swallowed hard, her throat suddenly dry. "Julian, I don't understand. These designs, they're not mine?" Julian finished for her, a bitter laugh escaping his lips. "No, they're not. At least, not originally." The silence that followed was deafening. Lily's mind raced, trying to reconcile the man she'd come to admire with this new, troubling information. Julian sank into a nearby chair, suddenly looking much older and more vulnerable than Lily had ever seen him. "It's not what you think," he began, his voice heavy with resignation. "The designs, they're my sister's." Lily blinked in surprise. "Your sister?" Julian nodded, a pained expression crossing his face. "Olivia. She is a brilliant designer. Far more talented than I ever was. But she's also agoraphobic. The idea of presenting her work to the world, of dealing with the spotlight, it terrified her." He paused, running a hand through his hair. "So we made an arrangement. I would be the face of her designs, handle the business side of things, while she could create in peace. It worked, for a while. Until what?" Lily prompted gently, her anger giving way to curiosity and compassion. Julian's eyes met hers, filled with a mixture of guilt and sorrow. "Until she disappeared. 3 years ago, without a word. I've been adapting her old designs, trying to keep things going, hoping she'd come back." The revelation hung in the air between them, heavy with implications. Lily's mind whirled with questions, but before she could voice any of them, a new voice cut through the tension. Well, Ethan Blackwood drawled from the doorway, his expression a mixture of triumph and disappointment. "It seems the great Julian Hawthorne isn't so great after all." Julian sprang to his feet, his face a mask of fury. "How long have you been there, Blackwood?" Ethan's smile was shark-like. "Long enough. I always knew there was something off about your sudden rise to fame, Hawthorne. But this is beyond even my wildest suspicions." As the two men faced off, the air crackling with tension, Lily found herself caught in the middle of a storm she never saw coming. The glittering world of high fashion suddenly seemed tarnished, its golden veneer peeling away to reveal the complex, often ugly truths beneath. In that moment, standing amidst the scattered sketches of a ghost designer, Lily realized that her journey in this world was far from over. In fact, it was only just beginning. The true test of her character and her passion for fashion lay ahead, a test that would push her to her limits and force her to decide what she truly stood for in this cutthroat industry. As the first rays of dawn began to creep through the windows of the Elegance magazine offices, Lily took a deep breath, steeling herself for the challenges to come. The charity show was just days away, and with it, a reckoning that would shake the fashion world to its core. Little did she know that her own designs, quietly developed in the shadows of Julian's mentorship, would soon take center stage in a way she never could have imagined. The seamstress from the Bronx was about to become the eye of a storm that would reshape the landscape of high fashion forever. But as Ethan and Julian continued their heated exchange, oblivious to her inner turmoil, Lily made a silent vow to herself. No matter what happened next, she would stay true to her passion, her integrity, and the lessons her grandmother had taught her. In a world of smoke and mirrors, she would be the thread of authenticity that could not be broken. The charity show loomed on the horizon, promising not just a showcase of fashion, but a crucible in which careers would be made or broken, secrets would be revealed, and a new star would rise from the most unexpected of places. For Lily Martinez, the real work was just beginning. And as she gathered the scattered sketches, her mind already racing with ideas to salvage the situation, she knew that her greatest creation was yet to come, a masterpiece not of fabric and thread, but of truth, redemption, and the unbreakable spirit of a dreamer who refused to give up. The fashion world had no idea what was about to hit it. But Lily, with fire in her eyes and determination in her heart, was ready to show them all what a seamstress from the Bronx could really do. As the sun rose over New York City, casting long shadows across the cluttered office, Lily, Julian, and Ethan stood frozen in a tableau of revelation and consequence. The air was thick with unspoken words and the weight of decisions yet to be made. Ethan was the first to break the tense silence. "So, what happens now?" he asked, his earlier smugness giving way to a more calculated expression. This could destroy Elegance magazine, you know. Years of built-up credibility, gone in an instant. Julian's shoulders sagged, the fight seeming to drain out of him. What do you want, Blackwood? To ruin me? Go ahead. I deserve it. But Lily's mind was racing, seeing not an ending, but an opportunity. Wait, she said, her voice stronger than she felt. What if we turned this into something positive? Both men turned to her, surprise evident on their faces. Emboldened, Lily continued, the charity show is about second chances, right? About revealing hidden beauty and potential. What if we use this as a chance to do just that? She began to pace, her excitement growing with each word. We come clean about Olivia. We showcase her past work, giving her the credit she deserves. And then... She paused, taking a deep breath. We debut a new collection. A collaboration between Julian and me, inspired by Olivia's vision but entirely our own. The silence that followed was electric. Julian stared at Lily with a mixture of awe and hope, while Ethan's expression was unreadable. It's risky, Ethan said finally. But it could work. The scandal would generate buzz, and if the new collection is strong enough, it could redefine Elegance's brand. Julian nodded slowly, a spark of his old fire returning to his eyes. Lily's right. It's time to stop living in Olivia's shadow. To create something new, something true. As the three of them began to hash out the details of their daring plan, Lily felt a surge of exhilaration. This was her chance, not just to prove herself as a designer, but to make a real difference in the industry she loved. The next few days passed in a blur of frenetic activity. Lily and Julian worked around the clock, pouring their hearts and souls into a new collection that would showcase both their individual talents and their synergy as a team. As they created, Lily found herself drawing inspiration from unexpected places, the resilience of her grandmother, the raw energy of her old neighborhood in the Bronx, the complex emotions of the past few weeks. Each piece told a story of transformation, of beauty emerging from struggle. The night before the charity show, Lily stood in the center of the workshop, surrounded by their completed collection. Mannequins draped in vibrant fabrics and innovative designs filled the room, each piece a testament to the whirlwind journey that had brought her to this moment. Julian entered quietly, his eyes widening as he took in the scene. Lily, he breathed, this is extraordinary. She turned to him, a mixture of pride and nervousness etched on her face. Do you really think so? It's so different from anything Elegance has done before. He nodded, a genuine smile breaking across his features. That's precisely why it's perfect. This collection, it's not just clothes. It's a statement. A revolution. As they stood together, admiring their work, Lily felt a sudden pang of doubt. Julian, she said softly, what if Olivia comes back? What then? Julian's expression grew serious. Then we face it together. No more secrets, no more hiding. Whatever happens, Lily, know that you've earned your place here. Your talent is undeniable. His words warmed her heart, chasing away the lingering shadows of insecurity. As they began the painstaking process of packing up the collection for transport to the venue, Lily allowed herself to dream of the possibilities that tomorrow might bring. The morning of the charity show dawned bright and clear, the New York City skyline a glittering backdrop to the most important day of Lily's life. The venue, a converted warehouse in the trendy meatpacking district, buzzed with activity as models, stylists, and technicians rushed to prepare for the evening's events. Lily stood backstage, her heart pounding as she made last-minute adjustments to the opening piece, a stunning gown that seamlessly blended Julian's avant-garde style with her own intuitive understanding of form and movement. As she worked, she couldn't help but overhear the excited whispers of the models and staff. Did you hear? Julian Hawthorne is going to make some big announcement before the show. I heard there's a new designer involved. Some nobody from the Bronx, can you believe it? Well, I heard that Ethan Blackwood himself is personally overseeing everything. Something big is definitely going down. Lily's cheeks flushed, a mixture of excitement and anxiety coursing through her veins. In just a few hours, the truth would be revealed, and her life would change forever, for better or worse. As she put the finishing touches on the gown, a commotion near the entrance caught her attention. Turning, she saw Veronica Sinclair storming towards her, face flushed with anger. "You!" Veronica hissed, jabbing a perfectly manicured finger at Lily's chest. "I don't know how you've managed to worm your way into this position, but mark my words, this is far from over." Lily stood her ground, meeting Veronica's icy glare with a calm she didn't entirely feel. "Veronica, I understand you're upset, but this isn't about you or me. It's about the art, the fashion. Can't we just focus on making this show a success?" For a moment, something like uncertainty flickered in Veronica's eyes. But then her mask of contempt slammed back into place. "Oh, honey," she sneered, "you have no idea what you've stepped into. This world will chew you up and spit you out before the night is over." Before Lily could respond, Julian appeared, placing a protective hand on her shoulder. "Is there a problem here, Veronica?" he asked, his voice cool and controlled. Veronica's demeanor changed instantly, a saccharine smile spreading across her face. "Not at all, Julian darling. Just wishing our little prodigy good luck." With a final venomous glance at Lily, she sauntered away, leaving a wake of expensive perfume and unspoken threats. Julian squeezed Lily's shoulder reassuringly. "Don't let her get to you. Tonight is about our vision, our truth. Nothing else matters." Lily nodded, taking a deep breath to center herself. As she turned back to her work, she caught sight of her reflection in a nearby mirror. Gone was the timid seamstress from the Bronx. In her place stood a woman on the brink of realizing her dreams, her eyes alight with determination and creative fire. As the hours ticked by in the venue filled with the glitterati of the fashion world, the excitement backstage reached a fever pitch. Models lined up in their first looks, makeup artists made final touches, and the low hum of anticipation filled the air. Ethan Blackwood appeared, looking dashing in a perfectly tailored suit. "Places, everyone," he called out, his voice carrying over the controlled chaos. "Showtime in 5 minutes." He pulled Lily and Julian aside, his expression serious. "Remember the plan. I'll make the initial announcement, then introduce Julian. Julian, you'll explain about Olivia and take responsibility. Then, Lily, it's your moment. Introduce the new collection and knock their socks off." Lily's stomach churned with a mixture of nerves and excitement. This was it, the moment that would define her career, her future, her very identity in the cutthroat world of high fashion. As they took their places behind the curtain, Julian leaned in close. "Lily," he whispered, his breath warm against her ear, "whatever happens out there, I want you to know. I'm proud of you. You've shown me what true passion and integrity look like in this industry. Thank you." Before Lily could respond, the lights dimmed, and Ethan's voice boomed through the speakers. "Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Elegance Magazine's annual charity fashion show. Tonight, we have something very special for you, a revelation that will shake the foundations of the fashion world as we know it." The audience murmured in anticipation as Ethan continued. "But first, please welcome the man who has been the face of Elegance's design team for the past decade, Julian Hawthorne." Applause erupted as Julian stepped out onto the runway, his face a mask of calm determination. Lily watched from the wings, her heart racing as he began to speak. "Thank you all for coming tonight," Julian began, his voice steady. For years, I've stood before you, accepting praise for designs that have pushed the boundaries of fashion. But tonight, I stand before you to reveal a truth that I've kept hidden for far too long. A hush fell over the crowd as Julian took a deep breath. The designs that have made Elegance magazine famous were not entirely my own. They were the work of my sister, Olivia Hawthorne, a brilliant but reclusive designer who feared the spotlight. Gasps and whispers rippled through the audience. Lily could see shock, disbelief, and outrage on the faces of the fashion elite. But Julian pressed on, his voice growing stronger with each word. I made a grave error in judgment by claiming her work as my own, even if it was with her initial consent. I allowed fear and ambition to cloud my integrity, and for that, I am deeply sorry. To Olivia, wherever you are, I apologize. And to all of you, I ask for your understanding and the chance to make amends. The silence that followed was deafening. Lily held her breath, waiting for the reaction. Would it be acceptance or condemnation? Then, from the back of the room, a single person began to clap. Others joined in, slowly at first, then building to a thunderous applause. The fashion world, it seemed, could appreciate a good story of redemption. Julian raised his hands, quieting the crowd. But tonight is not just about the past. It's about the future. In the spirit of new beginnings and second chances, I am thrilled to introduce you to a remarkable new talent, a designer whose fresh perspective and raw talent have inspired me to rediscover my own passion for fashion. Lily's heart leapt into her throat. This was it. Please welcome, Julian said, his voice filled with genuine admiration, the co-designer of tonight's collection and the brightest new star in the fashion firmament, Lily Martinez. On shaky legs, Lily stepped out onto the runway. The bright lights blinded her for a moment, and the sea of faces before her seemed to stretch on forever. But as her eyes adjusted, she saw something that gave her strength. In the front row, beaming with pride, sat Mrs. Jenkins, the kindly neighbor who had given her that first chance. Drawing a deep breath, Lily began to speak. Good evening, everyone. I stand before you tonight not just as a designer, but as a dreamer. A girl from the Bronx who dared to believe that with hard work, passion, and integrity, anything is possible. As she spoke, her confidence grew. She shared the story of her journey, from mending clothes in her tiny apartment to this moment on the grand stage of high fashion. She spoke of the lessons learned from her grandmother, the struggles she'd faced, and the unwavering belief in the transformative power of fashion. Tonight, she concluded, her voice ringing clear and strong, we present to you a collection that represents not just a fusion of styles, but a fusion of stories. It's a testament to the idea that from our deepest struggles can come our greatest beauty. Ladies and gentlemen, we give you Phoenix Rising, a celebration of rebirth, resilience, and the unstoppable power of the human spirit. As the first model stepped onto the runway, the audience erupted into applause. The collection unfolded like a visual symphony, each piece telling a story of transformation and hope. There were gowns that seemed to float on air, structured jackets that spoke of strength and resilience, and delicate embroideries that told tales of heritage and pride. From her place at the end of the runway, Lily watched in awe as her dreams came to life before her eyes. She caught glimpses of the audience's reactions, fashion critics nodding in approval, celebrities leaning forward in their seats, and even Veronica Sinclair, her face a mixture of grudging respect and barely concealed envy. As the last model made her way down the runway, the entire room held its breath. The final piece was Lily's masterwork, a gown that seemed to capture the essence of her entire journey. It shimmered with thousands of hand-sewn crystals, each one catching the light like a star. The bodice was structured, reminiscent of the New York City skyline, while the skirt flowed like water, embodying the fluid nature of dreams and ambitions. When the model reached the end of the runway, she turned, revealing an intricate back piece that unfurled like the wings of a phoenix. The audience gasped in collective awe, and then, as one, rose to their feet in a standing ovation. Tears of joy and relief streamed down Lily's face as she and Julian stepped out to take their final bow. The applause was deafening, a tidal wave of approval and excitement that washed away all the doubts and fears of the past weeks. As they stood there, hand in hand, basking in the glow of their triumph, Lily caught sight of a figure slipping out of the back of the venue. For a brief moment, she locked eyes with a woman who could only be Olivia Hawthorne. The resemblance to Julian was undeniable, as was the mixture of pride and melancholy in her eyes. Before Lily could react, Olivia was gone, vanishing like a ghost into the New York night. The aftermath of the show was a whirlwind of congratulations, interviews, and offers. Fashion buyers clamored to place orders, magazines begged for exclusive features, and social media exploded with praise for the breakthrough collection. As the crowd began to disperse, Ethan Blackwood approached Lily and Julian, a rare genuine smile on his face. "Well," he said, clapping them both on the shoulder, "I'd say that was a resounding success. Lily, my dear, you've just become the toast of New York fashion. And Julian, your honesty has turned a potential disaster into a triumph. Well done, both of you." But amid the celebration, Lily felt a tug on her arm. She turned to find Mrs. Jenkins, tears glistening in her kind eyes. "Oh, Lily," the older woman said, pulling her into a warm embrace, "your grandmother would have been so proud. You've shown them all what a girl from the Bronx can do." Lily hugged her back fiercely, overcome with gratitude for the woman who had given her that first crucial chance. "Thank you, Mrs. Jenkins," she whispered. "For everything." As the night wore on and the venue emptied, Lily found a quiet moment alone. She slipped away to a secluded corner, needing a moment to process the whirlwind of events. Leaning against the wall, she closed her eyes, letting out a long, shaky breath. "Quite a night, huh?" a familiar voice said softly. Lily's eyes flew open to find Julian standing before her, his expression a mixture of exhaustion and exhilaration. "Julian," she breathed, "I can't believe we actually did it." He stepped closer, his eyes never leaving hers. "We did more than that, Lily. We changed everything. And it's all thanks to you." Before she could respond, Julian closed the distance between them, cupping her face gently in his hands. For a moment, the world seemed to hold its breath. Then, with a tenderness that made her heart soar, he kissed her. It was a kiss born of shared struggles and triumphs, of late nights and creative passion, of two souls finding in each other a kindred spirit. When they finally parted, both were breathless, their eyes shining with the promise of a future neither had dared to imagine. "Lily Martinez," Julian said softly, his forehead resting against hers, "I think you've not only revolutionized the fashion world, but you've also stolen my heart." Lily laughed, a sound of pure joy and relief. "Well," she replied, a mischievous glint in her eye, "I'd say that's a pretty good night's work, wouldn't you?" As they stood there, wrapped in each other's arms with the New York City skyline glittering beyond the windows, Lily knew that this was just the beginning. There would be challenges ahead, no doubt. The fashion world was still a cutthroat place, and success could be as fleeting as the latest trend. But for now, in this moment, she allowed herself to savor her triumph. The little girl from the Bronx who had dreamed of designing beautiful clothes had not only realized her ambition but had done so on her own terms, with integrity and passion. As the first light of dawn began to peek over the horizon, painting the sky in hues of pink and gold, Lily and Julian walked hand in hand out of the venue. The city was stirring to life around them, but to Lily, it felt like a brand new world, one full of possibilities, dreams, and the sweet taste of hard-earned success. Little did she know that the greatest challenges and the most spectacular triumphs of her career were yet to come. The fashion world had been shaken to its core, and Lily Martinez was at the epicenter of a revolution that would redefine the industry for years to come. But those were stories for another day. For now, as she hailed a taxi with Julian by her side, Lily allowed herself to simply be in the moment, a moment of pure, unadulterated joy in the thrilling anticipation of all that was yet to come. The taxi pulled up, and as Julian opened the door for her, Lily took one last look at the venue where her life had changed forever. With a smile that could outshine the rising sun, she slid into the back seat, ready to embark on the next chapter of her extraordinary journey. The days following the charity show were a whirlwind of activity and emotion for Lily. Her phone rang constantly with interview requests, congratulatory messages, and offers from fashion houses around the world. Social media buzzed with her name, hailing her as the fresh voice the industry had been waiting for. But amidst the chaos, Lily found herself grappling with the enormity of what had transpired. She had gone from a struggling seamstress to the toast of New York fashion overnight. The transition was as exhilarating as it was overwhelming. One morning, about a week after the show, Lily sat in Julian's office at Elegance magazine, sipping coffee and trying to make sense of her new reality. The view of the New York skyline stretched out before her, a constant reminder of how far she had come from her tiny apartment in the Bronx. Julian entered, his face lighting up at the sight of her. "Good morning, superstar," he said, planting a gentle kiss on her forehead before settling into his chair across from her. Lily couldn't help but smile, even as she felt a flutter of nervousness in her stomach. "Julian," she began, setting down her coffee cup, "what happens now? Everything's happening so fast, and I'm not sure I'm ready for all of this." Julian leaned forward, his expression softening. "Lily, listen to me. What you're feeling is completely normal. Success, especially when it comes this suddenly, can be overwhelming. But you've earned this. Your talent, your integrity, your passion, these are the things that got you here, and they're the things that will keep you going." He reached across the desk, taking her hand in his. "And you're not alone in this. We're partners now, in every sense of the word. We'll face whatever comes next together." Lily squeezed his hand gratefully, drawing strength from his unwavering support. As she opened her mouth to respond, a knock at the door interrupted them. Ethan Blackwood strode in, his usual air of confident nonchalance tinged with an excitement that was impossible to hide. "Good, you're both here," he said, closing the door behind him. "We need to talk about the future of Elegance magazine, and more importantly, the future of Lily Martinez." Over the next hour, Ethan laid out a vision that made Lily's head spin. Exclusive contracts, a dedicated design team, fashion weeks in Paris, Milan, and Tokyo. It was everything she had ever dreamed of and more. "And that's not all," Ethan said, his eyes gleaming. "We want to launch a new line under your name, Lily. Affordable, high-fashion designs for the everyday woman. Your story, your background, it's marketing gold. We'll call it Lily of the Bronx. Lily's breath caught in her throat. It was an incredible opportunity, a chance to bring her designs to women like her grandmother, women who deserved beauty and quality regardless of their budget. And yet, "It's a lot to take in," Julian said, noticing Lily's hesitation. "Why don't you give us some time to discuss it, Ethan? We'll have an answer for you by the end of the week." Ethan nodded, understanding the need for deliberation. As he left, Lily turned to Julian, her eyes wide. "Julian, it's everything I've ever wanted. But I can't help feeling like it's too much, too soon. What if I'm not ready? What if I let everyone down?" Julian moved around the desk, kneeling beside her chair and taking both her hands in his. "Lily, listen to me. You are ready. You've been ready for this your entire life. Every struggle, every setback, every late night spent perfecting your craft, it was all leading to this moment." He paused, his green eyes intense as they gazed into hers. "But the decision has to be yours. This is your dream, your future. Whatever you choose, I'll be right here beside you. Partners, remember? Lily nodded, feeling a wave of calm wash over her. She knew what she had to do. The next few months were a blur of activity. Lily threw herself into her work with a passion that amazed even those who knew her best. She assembled a team of young, hungry designers who shared her vision of accessible haute couture. Together, they worked tirelessly to bring Lily of the Bronx to life. But it wasn't all smooth sailing. The fashion world, for all its initial enthusiasm, could be fickle and cruel. There were whispers in some corners that Lily was a one-hit wonder, that her success at the charity show had been a fluke. Others criticized her focus on affordable fashion, claiming it would dilute the prestige of high-end design. Veronica Sinclair, still smarting from her perceived humiliation, became Lily's most vocal critic. She used her considerable influence to sow doubts about Lily's abilities and background, suggesting that her rags-to-riches story was nothing more than a carefully crafted PR stunt. Through it all, Lily remained focused on her goal. She drew strength from Julian's unwavering support, from the excitement of her team, and from the memory of her grandmother's teachings. Each criticism, each setback, only fueled her determination to succeed. As the launch date for Lily of the Bronx approached, the pressure intensified. Late nights turned into all-nighters, and more than once, Julian found Lily asleep at her desk, sketches and fabric swatches scattered around her. "You need to take care of yourself," he gently admonished one such morning, rousing her with a cup of strong coffee. "The collection won't be worth anything if you work yourself into the ground." Lily smiled tiredly, gratefully accepting the coffee. I know. It's just, there's so much writing on this. It's not just about me anymore. It's about the team, about all the women who are counting on us to deliver something special." Julian nodded, understanding all too well the weight of expectations. "Which is exactly why you need to be at your best. Come on, I'm taking you out for breakfast. No arguments." As they sat in a cozy diner not far from the office, Lily found herself relaxing for the first time in weeks. The familiar sounds and smells of a New York morning washed over her, grounding her in the reality of the city she loved. "You know," Julian said between bites of his omelet, "I've been thinking. After the launch, once things settle down a bit, maybe we could take a trip. Somewhere far away from fashion weeks and design meetings. Just you and me." Lily's heart skipped a beat at the thought. "That sounds wonderful," she said softly. "Where did you have in mind?" Julian's eyes twinkled mischievously. "How about Paris? Not for work, mind you. Just to wander the streets, eat too much cheese, drink wine by the Seine. To remember why we fell in love with fashion and each other in the first place." Lily reached across the table, lacing her fingers through his. "It's a date," she said, feeling a renewed sense of purpose and excitement for the future. The day of the Lily of the Bronx launch arrived with all the fanfare and excitement of a major cultural event. The venue, a converted warehouse in Lily's old neighborhood, was transformed into a celebration of New York's vibrant, diverse spirit. As Lily stood backstage, putting the final touches on the opening look, she felt a tap on her shoulder. Turning, she found herself face to face with Mrs. Jenkins, her eyes brimming with tears of pride. "Oh, Lily," Mrs. Jenkins said, pulling her into a tight embrace. "Look at all you've accomplished. Your grandmother would be bursting with pride if she could see you now." Lily hugged her back fiercely, feeling a lump form in her throat. "She is here," Lily said softly. "In every stitch, every design. I couldn't have done any of this without her, or you." As they parted, Lily noticed a commotion near the entrance. To her shock, she saw a familiar face making its way through the crowd, Olivia Hawthorne, Julian's elusive sister. Julian appeared at Lily's side, his face a mixture of surprise and apprehension. Olivia, he breathed. I can't believe she came. Lily squeezed his hand reassuringly. Go to her, she urged. This is your chance to make things right. As Julian made his way to his sister, Lily turned her attention back to the show. It was almost time to begin, and she could feel the nervous energy radiating from her team. All right, everyone, she called out, her voice steady and confident. This is our moment. Remember why we're here, not just to show off beautiful clothes, but to prove that fashion can be accessible, empowering, and true to its roots. Let's show them what Lily of the Bronx is all about. The lights dimmed, and the familiar rush of adrenaline coursed through Lily's veins as the first chords of music filled the air. The show was a vibrant celebration of diversity and style, with models of all shapes, sizes, and backgrounds showcasing designs that were both fashionable and functional. From her place at the end of the runway, Lily watched with pride as her vision came to life. She caught glimpses of the audience's reactions, fashion critics nodding in approval, celebrities leaning forward in their seats, and most importantly, ordinary women watching with wide-eyed excitement as they saw themselves represented on the runway. As the final model made her way down the catwalk, Lily held her breath. The piece de resistance was a gown that embodied everything Lily of the Bronx stood for: elegant yet practical, with clever design elements that allowed it to transform from a day look to evening wear with a few simple adjustments. The audience erupted into applause as the model reached the end of the runway. Lily's heart soared as she saw women in the crowd turning to each other, pointing out details and clearly imagining themselves in the dress. When it was time for Lily to take her final bow, she was overwhelmed by the response. The applause was deafening, a standing ovation that seemed to go on forever. As she stood there, basking in the glow of her triumph, Lily caught sight of Julian and Olivia standing together at the back of the room. They were both applauding, tears streaming down their faces. In that moment, Lily felt a profound sense of completion. She had not only realized her own dreams but had helped heal a family rift in the process. This, she realized, was what true success felt like. The aftermath of the show was a whirlwind of congratulations, interviews, and celebrations. Lily of the Bronx was hailed as a game-changer in the fashion industry, praised for its innovative approach to accessible haute couture. Orders poured in from retailers around the world, and social media exploded with women sharing their excitement about finally having access to high-quality, designer fashion at affordable prices. Even Veronica Sinclair, in a surprising turn of events, approached Lily at the after-party. I have to hand it to you, Martinez, she said, a grudging respect in her voice. You've done something truly special here. I may not have believed in you at first, but I know talent when I see it. Well done. Lily, touched by the unexpected olive branch, smiled warmly. Thank you, Veronica. That means a lot coming from you. You know, there's always room for collaboration in this industry. Maybe we could work on something together someday? Veronica raised an eyebrow, a slow smile spreading across her face. You know what? I might just take you up on that. As the night wore on, Lily found a quiet moment alone on the rooftop terrace. The New York City skyline stretched out before her, a glittering reminder of all the dreams that had brought her to this moment. She heard footsteps behind her and turned to see Julian approaching, 2 glasses of champagne in hand. I thought the woman of the hour might need a drink, he said, handing her a glass. Lily accepted it gratefully, clinking her glass against his. To new beginnings, she said softly. And to the remarkable woman who made them possible, Julian added, his eyes shining with pride and love. As they stood there, looking out over the city they both loved, Lily felt a sense of peace wash over her. She had faced her fears, stayed true to her values, and emerged stronger than ever. You know, Julian said, wrapping an arm around her waist, I was thinking about that trip to Paris we talked about. Lily leaned into him, a smile playing at her lips. Oh. What about it? Julian turned to face her, taking both her hands in his. Well, I was thinking, why wait? Let's go. Tomorrow. No plans, no schedules. Just you and me, getting lost in the city of light. Lily's eyes widened in surprise. Julian, we can't just leave. There's so much to do, the orders to fill, the next collection to plan. All of which can wait a week or two, Julian interrupted gently. Lily, you've just changed the face of fashion. You've earned this. We've earned this. As Lily looked into Julian's eyes, she saw the future stretching out before them, a future filled with creativity, passion, and love. And suddenly, the idea of running away to Paris seemed not just possible, but perfect. Okay, she said, a giddy laugh bubbling up from her chest. Let's do it. Let's go to Paris. Julian's face lit up with joy, and he pulled her close, kissing her with a passion that made her toes curl. When they finally parted, both breathless and grinning, Lily felt as though her heart might burst with happiness. As the first light of dawn began to paint the sky, Lily and Julian left the party hand in hand, slipping away into the New York morning. They had a plane to catch, after all. In the years that followed, Lily Martinez became a household name, not just in the fashion world but beyond. Lily of the Bronx grew into a global brand, known for its commitment to quality, accessibility, and ethical production practices. Lily never forgot her roots, using her success to establish scholarships for aspiring designers from underprivileged backgrounds. She and Julian married in a small, intimate ceremony in Central Park, surrounded by their closest friends and family, including a beaming Mrs. Jenkins and a fully reconciled Olivia Hawthorne. And true to her grandmother's teachings, Lily continued to approach each day, each design, each challenge with the same passion and integrity that had carried her from a tiny apartment in the Bronx to the pinnacle of the fashion world. As for Veronica Sinclair, her prediction about collaboration came true. She and Lily eventually joined forces on a groundbreaking sustainable fashion initiative that further revolutionized the industry. Ethan Blackwood remained a close friend and advisor, his sharp business acumen helping to guide Elegance magazine and Lily of the Bronx through the ever-changing landscape of fashion and media. But perhaps the most meaningful legacy of Lily's journey was the inspiration it provided to countless young dreamers around the world. Her story, of perseverance, integrity, and unwavering belief in oneself, became a beacon of hope for anyone who dared to chase their dreams against all odds. And so, dear reader, as we come to the end of our tale, remember this: in a world that often values appearances above all else, it is the strength of one's character, the depth of one's passion, and the purity of one's vision that truly make a lasting impact. For Lily Martinez, the girl from the Bronx who dared to dream, this was just the beginning of a lifelong adventure in fashion, love, and the art of staying true to oneself. As she often told aspiring designers who sought her advice, in fashion, as in life, it's not about where you start, but how you choose to weave the fabric of your journey. Every stitch, every struggle, every triumph becomes part of your unique design. So make it beautiful, make it meaningful, and above all, make it authentically you. And with that, dear reader, we bid farewell to Lily and Julian, to the glittering world of New York fashion, and to the remarkable journey that took a humble seamstress from the shadows of obscurity to the dazzling lights of international acclaim. But remember, in the grand tapestry of life, every ending is just a new beginning in disguise. So who knows what adventures await our beloved characters in the chapters yet to be written? For now, let us take a moment to bask in the glow of a dream realized, a love deepened, and a world forever changed by the passion and perseverance of one extraordinary woman. And as the lights dim on our story, we leave you with this final thought: in the end, it is not the labels we wear, but the lives we touch and the love we share that truly make us fashion our own happily ever after.